Before we begin, I'll simplify this welcome page and we'll just have a H1 here which says welcome page. And if I go to the browser and refresh, we have our changes. Now, there are two ways to render a Livewire component on a page. And the first one is by including it within an existing blade view. We already have an existing blade view here, so let's go ahead and create a simple Livewire component and see how we can include it in this blade view. And that command will create our counter component in app Livewire directory. And the component is simply a PHP class which extends the Livewire component. It also returns the counter blade view, which will be created by this command in resources views Livewire directory. Let's switch to that directory, and here we can see that it is empty. We can render something. We can have a H2 here which says this is the counter component. Let's also add data into this component. So I'll go to the class, and here we can have a public property called count, which is 0 by default. We can also have a method called increment, which when executed, it will increment the count property. And as long as the property is public, it will be automatically available in our counter blade view. So let's go to that blade view and create a button. So here I'll just have a button which when clicked, it will execute the increment method, and that will increment the count property. We can as well render the count. So let's change this to H3. Now let's render this component in the welcome page. So here you can just come here and say Livewire. Then you have a colon and then the name of the component, which is counter, then self-close this tag. So save that, and then if you go to the browser and refresh, we have that. Let's see if it's working. You click here and it's reactive. The second way is by assigning this component to a route as a full page component. So what you can do is that when you come to web, instead of doing this, you can have your component, which is counter. Make sure you import the one in app Livewire namespace, and then by just doing that, you have assigned your component to this route. And if I save this and go to the browser and refresh, it doesn't work, and that is because Livewire expects when you're using a component, when you assign it to a route, meaning that you're using it as a full page component, it expects you to provide a layout that will be used to load that component, and it expects the layout to be called app.blade.php, and it should be in components layouts directory. You can create that manually, but we also have an artisan command that you can use to do that, and that is php artisan make livewire then layout. Sorry, you have a typo there, should be layout, and that will create the layout for us. And if I refresh, we have the same thing. If I click here, it's reactive. And that's it for this lesson. Moving forward, we'll be using full page components. See you in the next lesson where we will cover integrating a template. Cheers.